This Real Agriculture podcast is brought to you by Genesis Fertilizers. Nitrogen fertilizer is your farm's #1 expense. Farmers are working together through Genesis Fertilizers to solve the problem of high prices and security of supply by planning a state-of-the-art nitrogen plant. Security and earnings through ownership is the solution. Visit Genesis today at genesisfertilizers.com to learn more.
Sean Haney here with Real Agriculture and Real Ag Radio, Rural Radio 147, Sirius XM. Well, it's the week of crop production show in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, which means there's going to be a few announcements. And one of the announcements that was made this week is coming from FCC, Farm Credit Canada. We're going to hear about that in a second. Our guest is Curtis Grainger. He is Director of Lending Products and Sustainability Programs with Farm Credit Canada, based out of Regina. Hey, Curtis. Great to chat with you.
Hey, Sean. Happy to be here.
Okay, so announcement here this week, and the title is Sustainability Incentive Program. Okay, so what does that mean to farmers in the country?
Yeah, for sure. So over the last couple of years, FCC has been working to put various sustainability incentive programs in market, which are available to our customers. In essence, you know, the various programs we've put out there, they all kind of mechanically work the same. Essentially, if you're a FCC customer with lending and you achieve whatever it is the criteria is behind the program, that customer is eligible to apply for an incentive program where they can get up to $2,000 a year from FCC, again, depending how much lending they have with us.
What are some of the things they need to do to qualify?
Yeah, so for the programs that are already out there, we've put 5 programs in market. We have a partnership with the Canadian Roundtable for Sustainable Beef, one with the Dairy Farmers of Canada, McCain Foods, Ducks Unlimited with their Marginal Areas program, and Cargill with their Regen Connect. Each of the programs have quite different criteria within them. The program we're announcing today at CPS, it's really around the Fertilizer Canada's 4R nutrient stewardship program. And essentially, if they can, you know, achieve the criteria within 4R nutrient stewardship programs, they're eligible to apply for the incentive. And I can kind of walk through what that looks like on the side of the farmer. Okay,
how come a max of $2,000?
Yeah, so that's our cap on all of our programs we have out there, and we're pretty new at this, so we kind of had to start somewhere, to be honest, and nailing down what that exact dollar amount should be is a bit tricky. The math behind it is essentially if you're a customer with $400,000 of lending or more, you would hit that $2,000 cap. And then if you have less than $400,000, it essentially is prorated from that point. So for example, if you had $200,000, it would be a $1,000 incentive, and so on and so forth.
Is the incentive meant to try to get more people to be in 4R? Is it meant to compensate people for some of the administration of being in 4R? Like, what is the money meant for? Or is it just, hey, here's $2,000 and go do with it what you may?
Yeah, so with all of our programs, there's kind of a really important concept behind it. So one, they're all industry led, which I think is, you know, really important. Even though FCC agriculture and food is all we do, the people who know most about the industry is actually the industry itself. So the programs are all industry led, and a critical piece of all the programs is we want to recognize the producers who are already doing the thing, regardless of the program. So with 4R, you know, if you're already implementing it, you'll kind of already be eligible in a sense if you're using AgExpert Premium Field. And then, as you said, the goal is that this incentive actually does encourage additional growers, farmers, producers to adopt the best management practice as well. So it's really to recognize those who are already doing, you know, the work, and then to encourage others to join them.
So talk a little bit about how AgExpert fits into this to make it all happen.
Yeah. So from the producer perspective, I'll kind of walk through the timelines and kind of how it all fits together. So prior to the growing season, the producer will, they'll need to work with a 4R designated agronomist. And that 4R designated agronomist will work with them to build essentially a 4R plan. So that happens prior to the growing season. So that's kind of step number one. And then what happens is, the producer, they use AgExpert Field Premium, and they're entering their data as required throughout the growing season. So things like, your fertilizer, nitrogen, phosphorus, that type of thing. And then the magic that makes the program work is AgExpert then takes that information and provides it in a really concise report after the growing season. So then the producer can send that summarized information more or less to their 4R designated agronomist. And then, so now it's, now we're kind of at the end of the growing season. And I'm the 4R agronomist. And so I would look at that 4R plan that I worked with the producer. I look at the summarized report in AgExpert, and I'd kind of say, all right, based on the growing conditions and the environment within the crop year here, did this person live into 4R as best they could given the conditions they were in? And if the certified agronomist is comfortable there, they would sign off essentially that yes, this producer has implemented 4R. And then literally from the producer perspective, it'll be a click of the button from that standpoint. It'll get sent to my team, the Sustainability Incentive Programs team. And then we'll look and see, are you an FCC customer with lending? Does everything check out on the kind of 4R implementation? And if all that holds true, usually about 4 to 8 weeks, the producer gets an incentive payment from FCC.
And is this, you don't have to be somebody that's just starting to do 4R. You may be doing 4R stuff for the last 5-10 years. You can still qualify for this program, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, for sure. 100%. And the program's actually an annual incentive as well. So not only will they be eligible, for 2024, they'll be eligible to apply to the program annually for, really for as long as the program exists. And rewarding those producers who are already, practicing 4R, I think is such a critical piece in any, programs we can put out there, because it's the most interesting market signal when when you're early adopters of whatever it is you're trying to achieve, kind of can't reap the benefits of the programming out there. So we've really made an effort to recognize those producers. The one nuance would be is if they're not using AgExpert Field Premium, like they will have to use that for the 2024 growing season to be eligible for this program, because that's really the mechanism in the back end that makes it all possible.
So other field record software you need to be using AgExpert Premium.
Yeah, at this point in time, correct.
Okay. Do you think that you're leading this ship, so I can ask you this question? Do you think there's an opportunity for some of these incentives to get larger into the future once the programs are tested? Because I think some producers are going to say, "Wow, $2,000," and some people are going to say, "Hey, $2,000," right? So over the long term, is there an opportunity for some of these things there be higher qualifications of payouts?
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. The one thing I firmly believe, I don't think the incentives will go down. And I do think there could be, and I use the word could because I truly don't know. I do think there could be opportunity for them to grow. Something I'm really hoping for, and I'll maybe walk through one of our other programs to paint the picture a bit, is that through partnerships, we're actually able to expand the amount of the incentive. And that's where you have a couple companies working together to provide the incentive to the producer. So we actually have a program with McCain Foods, which is obviously focused in potatoes. And as part of that program, like on the FCC side, the incentive works the same. It's that math I spoke to before. The $400,000 is that $2,000 max, and so on. But with McCain, they have what's called a regenerative agricultural framework, and there's different levels within the framework. And depending where the producer is within those levels, McCain actually matches FCC and really matches them on an aggressive, on an impactful standpoint to the producer from a positive point of view. So I'll just maybe walk through that example. So if they have 3 different levels: beginner, master, expert. And if the person's on the framework, so we'll say at the beginner level, McCain actually matches FCC 1-to-1. So they could get up to $2,000 from FCC, up to $2,000 from McCain. If they're on the second level, the McCain actually matches FCC 2-to-1. So up to $4,000 from McCain, up to $2,000 from FCC. And if they're kind of at the very end of that framework, kind of in that most, robust sense of the framework in the sense of the word. McCain actually matches FCC up to 7-1. And again, these are annual incentives. So, that one's probably the most lucrative program that we have. And I'd be surprised if many others got maybe to that degree of matching. That being said, it kind of shows the power of companies working together to make the most positive impact to the producer from a financial perspective. And I think that's probably where the largest opportunity is to make that financial impact to the producer.
So, Curtis, I should ask if somebody wants more information about this, how do they find it?
Yeah, the easiest way to go is honestly, if you just Google FCC sustainability, that'll take you to the Sustainability Incentive Program landing page, and through there you'll see all of our different programs, and the ones that are out there. There's some that actually I should back up a little bit. They'll provide the background information. With all of our programs, they do run on kind of like a calendar year, so the application windows vary a little bit. For most of our programs, the application period is kind of May, June to December 31st, and that's when someone could apply once, and then annually, the next year they could apply again. This one with AgExpert and Fertilizer Canada, it's slightly different in that the window will actually be a little bit later in the year, and the reason for that is the growing season needs to come to an end. So that one will be more of kind of that November, December range, but they'll still have to do all that pre-work kind of early before the growing season to kind of line up all the ducks in a row.
So is this in motion then for the 2024 growing season then?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're announcing it now. And the intention behind that is so if a grower or producer is interested in participating, they can kind of take the steps in advance of the growing season to participate because, they'll want to start working with that 4R designated agronomist, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, hey, Curtis, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And good luck with this new incentive program centered around the 4Rs.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Sean.